The new Cro-Magnons. Freud Institute. Our immediate evolutionary precursor was Cro-Magnon Man. Cro-Magnon was more intelligent than we are. Whereas our average IQ is 90, his was 120. What happened? Why did people get dumber? Here is my conjecture. The more intelligent Cro-Magnon men lived alone, or in small family-based squads. The less intelligent ones banded together, since they were not intelligent enough to live without the assistance of many other people. When environmental conditions became adverse, the Cro-Magnon men who lived alone died out, and the ones who lived in large groups continued to live. And we are for the most part descended from the ones who continued to live. The Cro-Magnon men who lived in large groups were bureaucrats, since a bureaucrat is a spoke in a collective wheel. The Cro-Magnon who did not survive were non-bureaucrats, since they were not spokes in a collective wheel. So we are for the most part descendants of bureaucrats, and most of us today are in fact bureaucrats. But with the rise of internet culture, this is changing. Notice that bureaucrats cannot be alone. They have to work in large groups, and even their personal lives are group-oriented. There is no such thing as a solitary woodsman who is a bureaucrat. At the same time, non-bureaucrats tend to work and live alone. They may have families, but their tendency is to be alone. There is not such thing as a solitary woodsman who is a bureaucrat. Bureaucrats are almost always left-wing, and right-wing are almost always non-bureaucrats. This is because left-wing people are about collectivism and right-wing people are about rugged individualism. Notice that right-wing people are very drawn to internet culture. They are very comfortable online and tend to make a lot of friends online. Right-wing people are not very comfortable outside of the internet. This is partly because most people are left-wing, but it is also because right-wing people are inherently individualistic and the internet is more hospitable to individualism than is the non-virtual world. And left-wing people are not as drawn to internet culture. Or rather, they are drawn to it, but for left-wing people, internet culture is an extension of non-virtual life, not a substitute for it. By contrast, for right-wing people, internet culture is a replacement for non-virtual life, not an extension of it. I propose that right-wing, internet-oriented individualists are the new Cro-Magnon men. They are the new non-bureaucrats. The old non-bureaucrats died when Cro-Magnon Man was replaced by our species. But now Cro-Magnon Man has come back in the form of the internet individualist. I mean all of this quite literally. I believe that, with the rise of internet culture and the consequent ability for individualists to flourish, the human race is beginning to divide into two subspecies, one of which is non-bureaucratic and similar to Cro-Magnon Man, the other of which is bureaucratic and dissimilar from Cro-Magnon Man. This schism corresponds approximately to the schism described by H. G. Wells in his book The Time Machine between the Eloi and the Morlocks.